Alright, so now I'm back with part 2 of my PlayStation 2 collection. I still have a lot to cover, so let's get right back into it. The next game I have for the system is Rumble Racing, which is a racing game on the system that is actually not very well known, at least not to my knowledge. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this game, but I actually really enjoyed this. It's a pretty fun game. It reminds me a lot of NASCAR Rumble. I think this game is supposed to be a spiritual successor to that. It's pretty fun. I used to play this with a good buddy of mine years ago, back when I was living in Florida. Good stuff. This isn't really Mortal Kombat again. I did used to have this game, but I threw it away because it didn't work anymore. It was just broken, so... Yeah, but I love this game. I used to play the hell out of this all the time back in high school and middle school. Great stuff, but unfortunately I don't have the disc anymore. Instead, what's in here is Leisure Suit Larry, Magna Cum Laude, which I'm not going to show too much of because it's kind of got a lot of suggestive marks on it that I didn't draw. That was actually my friend Elliot's game years ago, and it was given to me. But yeah, Leisure Suit Larry it's a very odd game. It's nuts. I've heard that the older games on PC were much better, but I never played those, so I can't say much. But I know Magna Cum Laude is just... It's just weird. Tomb Raider Legends. This one is really good. It's just a bit on the short side in comparison to the other Tomb Raider games, but still, it's a lot of fun. I think that, in my honest opinion, this is the best one in the series. I felt the combat was the best, the puzzle solving. It was a bit aggravating at first, but it got better as it went on, and overall, I think this is the best one in the series. I really enjoyed it. Sorry I don't have a lot to say, it's just... Red Ninja End of Honor. This one is alright. It's kind of like... It kind of reminds me of the Tenchu games, but not as good. It's like a budget version of Tenchu, but it's not a bad game. It's okay for what it is. Warriors of Might and Magic. This one is done by the same guys that did the Army Men series, 3DO. And this is another entry in the Might and Magic series, except this one was never released on PC. It was only on PS1, PS2, and then the Game Boy Color, of all things. This one is not bad by any means, but it's not a great game either. Definitely not the greatest RPG I have on the PS2, but it's okay for what it is. I bought this game for like literally $1, so yeah. How could I pass that up? Madden NFL 07. I don't really care much for football games all that much. I don't really care about sports games all that much anyway. The only reason I even have this was just because of the soundtrack. Not only that, because I used to like this. I used to like sports games, but I don't care about them anymore. So, yeah, I might just get rid of this one. Give it to a friend. But, yeah. I love the soundtrack, though. It's got a lot of bands I like Atreyu, Matchbook Romance, I think. Yeah, I think it had Matchbook Romance. Had AFI, Less Than Jake, a bunch of other stuff. MotorStorm Arctic Edge. This is a pretty good game. Not as good as the PS3 games in this series, but this is still a pretty solid racer with a really good soundtrack starring Bullet for My Valentine and a few others. Although, my biggest complaint that I have with this game is that it's a little on the easy side because I've been able to get first place in every race I've been through. At least so far. I didn't get that far into the game yet, but I know in the first MotorStorm on the PlayStation 3, it was a tough game, but Arctic Edge on PS2 is still pretty good. It's a very late release, actually. It's released in 2009. It's also on the PSP as well. God of War 2. This game is awesome. One of my favorite franchises. I sadly don't have Ascension, but I have 1, 2, and 3, and I have the new God of War on PS4, which is a freaking awesome game. But God of War 2 is one of the best games in the series. in my personal opinion. I found this to be a ton of fun. There was a lot of problems they fixed from the first game. It's just an overall stronger game than the first one, but the first one is still great. The second one is just better, though, but they're all great games. I really enjoy the franchise. Smuggler's Run. This game is okay. It's a mission-based driving game where you deliver illegal cargo from point A to point B. It's a simple game, but it's pretty decent. Katamari Damacy. This game is hella weird, but it is a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think this really needs much more introduction, because I know a lot of people already know what this game is, but in case you don't know, this game is basically about your father, who is the king of Cosmos, that accidentally destroys the solar system. Actually, accidentally destroys the stars in the solar system. So you have to go ahead and get it back, and how you do that is by rolling a gigantic ball of garbage. It's crazy, but it is a lot of fun. The controls are a little hard to get used to at first, but the more you play it, the more fun it becomes. Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, the only Hitman game I have. I actually haven't really played this one very much. I only played it like once, and that was about it. I need to get around to it. The King of Fighters 2006. Here's a game I played a lot throughout my middle school years. I really enjoyed this game. I played this one for hours on end, getting all the characters, all the profiles. It's an awesome game. I honestly prefer this one over the previous game, which was Maximum Impact. This one's actually the sequel to it, which is Maximum Impact 2 in every other place, but in North America, it's King of Fighters 2006. I guess it was just to keep the year thing up. But needless to say, this game is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed this so much more than the previous entry. Although my favorite KOF game would have to be King of Fighters 99. I actually really like 99 the most out of the other games. But 2006 is a damn good game, and I really enjoyed it. Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain. This is sadly the latest game I have in the series. I don't have Dark Mirror or Logan's Shadow yet. But this game is really good. It's still a hard game, but that's basically Siphon Filter. It's a hard game series in general, but it's so fun. This one is easily my favorite one because due to the PS2's more advanced hardware, it's easier for me to play. And the cool thing is you actually have your own character or that you create for the game, and that actually does make you feel like you're in the game, so that's pretty cool. Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX 2. This one was okay. It's pretty fun, actually. It's a lot like the Tony Hawk games, except it's on BMX bikes, and it has a whole new set of skills. So it's not a complete rip-off, it's just developed by the same company, so yeah. But this game is really good, though. I highly recommend checking it out if you like the Tony Hawk series. You might need to get an extra memory card for it, though, because the game requires more than 4,000 kilobytes of memory, which a PS2 carries up to like 8,000 kilobytes, so it takes up like half the memory card. Not to mention, you also gotta make way for part creations and stuff like that. Still, though, it's a great game. Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves, my favorite one in the Sly Cooper series. I've beaten 1, 2, and 3, but 3 is my favorite one. The first one is still really solid. The second one is a good game, but the second one's my least favorite because I found this game to be really frustrating to get to your mission. Like, the missions were fine, most of them. It was getting to the missions that was a pain in the ass. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to get to your mission when you're roaming around. Another issue I had with the game is some of the boss fights were kind of hit or miss. The final boss was easily the worst of Sly 2, but despite that, I still really enjoyed 2 for what it was, but 3 is my all-time... But 3 is my favorite Sly game. Although, and next to Thieves in Time on the PS3, which is also really good. But still, awesome game. I found this one to be the most fun. Dark Cloud. I love this game, and I do have Dark Cloud 2 as well, but I have it downloaded on my PS4. But Dark Cloud 1, I actually prefer this one over Dark Cloud 2, and for a number of reasons. The second one is insanely difficult. The first one I didn't have... The first one is still hard, but it's still very manageable. And I prefer the city building elements here. It feels much more... It just feels more... I don't think the second game even had that. I don't know. I didn't get too far in the second one, but the first one has city building elements, and I really like that. You can place the houses and buildings anywhere you want. And I like the music in this game a lot. The music is really good. And the boss fights, while difficult, are pretty fun for the most part, except for the Ice Queen. The Ice Queen was just annoying. But overall, the game is really fun, and not saying that 2 is bad or anything, it's still a great game, but 2 does have some issues that I will cover on when I talk about my PS4 stuff. Still, though, Dark Cloud 1 is a damn good game. I highly recommend checking it out. The next game I have is Frequency, which is a music rhythm game that predates the Guitar Hero and Rock Band series, and it's developed by the same company, Harmonix, which is really cool. And I love this game. I actually beat it all the way through, 100%. Got every character, well, not every, I mean, the characters are kind of inconsequential, but I got every song unlocked, I got every stage unlocked, and yeah, it's just an overall fantastic game to play, especially with friends. And the soundtrack is really good. It's got like a bunch of different genres, from rock, hip-hop, and techno and electronic, and even a little bit of R&B. It's really good stuff. I absolutely love this game. Some of my favorite songs on there include Dangerous Go by Powerman 5000, Accelerator by Orbit. I also really like See It by Paul Oakenfold. That one's really good. Frequency by Fear Factory. And there's another one I really like. Oh yeah, the Winner by Crystal Method, and Official Chemical by Dub Pistols. Great stuff. Dragon Quest VIII. This game is really good. Definitely one of the best games in the Dragon Quest series, if not maybe my personal favorite. Next to Dragon Quest VII, which I also really enjoyed. Mega Man Anniversary Collection. This one contains Mega Mans 1 through 8, and it's all great stuff. Although there are a few small differences between these versions and the NES versions of these games, it's still really fun to play all these, and for a really solid price too. I got it for like $8, and yeah, that was definitely worth the money. 8 games for only $8. That's like $1 a game. Wait, there's also 2 hidden games as well, which are fighting games, and they're really fun too. So yeah, it's just good stuff. Tetris Worlds. It's Tetris with the... There's really not much else I can say about it, except it does look very nice, and it's fun. It's really fun. That's all I can say about it. Activision Anthology. This one contains a bunch of Atari 2600 games, like Freeway. What else it contain? Pitfall, Kaboom, Pitfall 2, River Raid 1 and 2. I think, yeah. It also has Barnstorming, which is really fun. Hero, Grand Prix, and a lot of other games. It's really fun, actually. Definitely one of the better Atari compilations. Contra Shattered Soldier. A lot of people don't really like this game too much, or Actually, this one's more polarized than anything. Some like it, some don't. I really like it, though. A lot of people would say that it's like a puzzle game masquerading as an action game, and while it is true to some degree, I still think it has plenty of bona fide action, and I had a lot of enjoyment playing this one. Easily my favorite Contra game in the series, next to Contra 3 on the Super Nintendo, which was also really good. Godai Elemental Force. I remember liking this game quite a bit when I was younger, but I haven't played this game since I was like 17 or 18. So I can't really remember I don't really know if it's held up at all or not. I've heard people say it's a terrible game, but I really need to replay this, see if I still like it or not. I remember liking it, but it's been years, so I can't say anymore. Burnout 3 Takedown. I actually really like this game. This is one of my favorite games in the series, if not maybe my favorite one, next to Revenge on the Xbox. This game is just so much fun to play, and unlike the second one, it adds a takedown mechanic which you can destroy other racers on the field. Sadly, you don't do traffic check, but that was included in Revenge, but it's still really fun. And this is also the first game in the series to have a licensed soundtrack with bands like Atreyu, the Ramones, what else is there? Sugar Cult. Shit, there were other bands in there. Oh yeah, Rise Against. Rise Against, another good one. And a whole lot of other bands, mostly punk, but a few other genres too. It's great stuff. I really enjoyed this game, and I had so much fun playing it, especially with all these different crash modes and stuff. The Road Rage mode, and even just taking down other racers. It's just so much fun. Soul Reaver 2, the only game I have in the Legacy of Kain series. I haven't played this too much, but from what I played, it was okay. It was nothing special. Just alright, I guess. I don't really know what else to say about it. Devil May Cry. This game is a lot of fun. I actually played through this one. I really enjoyed it. I don't really got much else to say. I mean, Devil May Cry is a series that a lot of people already know about, so I'm not going to talk much more about it, but I love this game, though, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite PS2 games. Minority Report. Everybody Runs. This game isn't all that great. It's just a mediocre movie-based game. The movie was really good, but the game was just kind of eh. It was okay, I will say that, but it wasn't great. Jak 3. Another awesome game. Definitely one of my favorites on the PlayStation 2. I actually did beat this one all the way through. There were some missions I didn't really like too much, like the target test thing that was near the end of the game, where you could use the ricochet function on your scat, where you could use the ricochet function on one of your guns. I felt that one was just needlessly frustrating due to the ricochet bullets that could hit the wrong targets nearly all the time, and I wasn't a fan of that, but I really do like most of the game. There are a few missions I didn't like, but most of it's great stuff. Especially the vehicle segments, I really like those. Next I have the first Burnout, which isn't really all that good. It's just an game. The later ones really improved upon the series. Dynasty Warriors 4 Extreme Legends. I actually really like the Dynasty Warriors series. It's a great franchise. Just beating the living shit out of hordes of different enemies to protect China. It's a lot of fun. Devil May Cry 2. This one was very disappointing to me. I didn't like this one as much as the first one. This one I felt was just really lackluster in comparison. It seems like this game took a huge step backwards. Now, I don't think this game is bad or anything. It's okay, but it has a lot of problems. The combat system was easily one of my biggest gripes with this game, because I felt the combat system was way too damn skewered. I felt that it was just much more... I felt the combat was just heavily dumbed down. It just feels really repetitive, and you can't really do the cool combos as much as you normally could. It just feels lame. The gun combat's not even very fun either. Overall, not a bad game, but it really could have been so much better. The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. I don't really get why people hate this game so much. I actually thought it was quite fun. I like the darker tone to the game, and I do like the combat system. I just think this game gets a lot more crap than it deserves. Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Definitely one of my favorite Castlevania games, if not maybe my favorite one. I played the hell out of this. I love the Innocent Devil system. The expansive, large amount of exploration in these castles you can go to, or the worlds. And the fact that you can go back to them at any time. Not only that, I love the large amount of weapons you could combine and make to create new ones, or even create armor, and that's just so cool. I love this game. Maybe I should do a Let's Play of this in the future, because I really love this game. Hell, maybe I might even do a review instead. MLB Slugfest 2006. Not normally a fan of sports games, but this is actually really fun. It's very arcade-like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's developed by Midway. The same guys did the NFL Blitz series, and it runs the Renderware engine, which was on Grand Theft Auto 3, Burnout 3, and a bunch of others, so that's pretty cool. Call of Duty Finest Hour. Not a bad game in the series. Definitely a fairly decent first entry on consoles. I actually used to play this game online years ago, back in high school, but the servers for that are dead now, so I can't play it online anymore. Spider-Man 2. I also have the first Spider-Man game in there as well. Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, is much better than the first one. The first game is okay, though. Well, not okay. It's pretty good, but... the second one's a lot better because you can get to explore around around New York, and the combat system has been heavily refined. The first one's still good, but the second one's just a lot better. Motocross Mania 3. A lot of people didn't really like this game, but I actually found a lot of enjoyment out of it. Although, I will say this, the graphics are very bad. This is one of the worst looking games I've ever played on the PS2. There's not a ton of detail. Everything looks very warped. It looks like a PlayStation 1 game, but the game is still fun, though. I really enjoyed it for what it was. Even with the lackluster graphics. It reminds me a lot of Road Rash, which I'm a huge fan of. So there's that. Ace Combat 5: The Unsung War. This one I really enjoyed, but I will say this though, it is a little difficult to get into the series because they rely on more realistic kind of physics. Oh, I think they have an arcade mode there as well, I'm not really sure, but I really enjoyed it from what I played of it. I should get more into it. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, definitely one of the best games in the series. I had a lot of fun with the Tenkaichi games, namely this one and Tenkaichi 3. This one just refines so much from the first game. There's a lot more characters to choose from, the story is better, the overall quality of this game is just much better overall. And I said overall too much. Sorry about that. SOCOM US Navy SEALs. Like I said in my previous video with combined assaults, I absolutely suck at these kinds of games. They're good, but jeez, I always have a hard time playing them because I'm more of a fast-paced player when it comes to my shooters. So playing tactical, it's a lot for me to take in, especially with the fact that I get easily stressed out, so it doesn't really help. Sonic Heroes, I did not make this cover art, my sister did. This version is really not that good. Compared to... This is easily the worst version in comparison to the GameCube version. The GameCube version is way better than this. The PS2 version just sucks. Well, it's not horrible. There's some... I mean, it's still very playable, but compared to the GameCube version, it's not very good. Ford Racing 3. It's an okay game. It's just your average run-of-the-mill racer with Ford vehicles. Could be better, but not terrible. Naruto Ultimate Ninja and Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. The first one, the first one wasn't all that great. I didn't like it too much, but Ultimate Ninja 2 I actually really enjoyed, and I played the shit out of that one. That was a lot of fun. I even beat the story mode too. And I also did get all the characters unlocked, so yeah, there's that. ATV Off-Road Fury 2. I used to have Off-Road Fury 3, but I lost it. I don't even know where the hell it went. But Off-Road Fury 2 is still a pretty solid game. I just wish I had 3, but 2, still a great game. Held up a lot better than the first one for sure. And the music is actually really good. Cypress Hill, Korn, System of a Down. What more could you want? Great stuff. Extreme G3. This is a pretty decent game. It's basically a futuristic motorcycle racing game where you can race and shoot other players down. It's pretty decent. Odin Sphere. This game I really enjoyed. It's a different kind of RPG. Instead of it being your traditional top-down or even isometric RPG or 3D RPG, it's much more of a side-scrolling RPG, which is very off-putting to some, but I really enjoyed it, and it's done by Atlas. The same guys did the Persona series, which I love, so you can't go wrong with that. It's good stuff. They also would later go on to make Dragon's Crown, which is awesome. Midway Arcade Treasures 2. This one's alright. It contains MK2 and Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, which is pretty good. And it has Primal Rage and Rampage, Gauntlet 2, Narc, and Total Carnage. Those are easily the best ones on here. But honestly, the library here, despite the ones I just mentioned, is not great. It has some okay games, and it has some just really shitty games. Some of the really shitty ones include Xenophobe. I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't really like Hard Drive. I meant Timber. I didn't really like Timber. And I really didn't like Cyberball 2072. That was not very fun. Didn't like Wizard of War. That one wasn't very fun. It's just the list is very hit or miss. There's some really good games here, but there's also some really bad ones too, so yeah. Heroes of Might and Magic, Quest for the Dragonbone Staff. Now, unlike Warriors of Might and Magic, this one I actually really enjoyed. It's a strategy type game that actually plays really well. When I was a kid, I used to play this one quite a bit, but I always had a hard time playing it because the battles they were just weird to me, but now that I'm older, I can understand this game a lot better, thanks to my more seasoned experience now. So, yeah. It's actually a really fun game. I'd even consider this a hidden gem in the franchise. So if you want to get this game, go ahead and give it a shot. It's really cheap, and it's not going to cost you an arm and leg. It's really fun, so go ahead and get it while it's cheap. Here's some Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy X, which is one of the 2 Final Fantasy games I did beat. I beat this, and I beat Final Fantasy 15, which I really liked. 10 I really enjoyed, except for the last few hours of it. The last few hours, they just started to drag after the Unalesca boss fight, but overall, I still really enjoyed this game. Just took forever to finish, though. Final Fantasy X-2, which I actually didn't get too much into, but from what I played of it, I actually did enjoy it. Final Fantasy XI Online. You can't play this anymore, considering the game's servers for this are finally dead after years. So yeah, that's a paperweight. And Final Fantasy XII. I prefer playing the Zodiac Age version on PS4 a lot more, because this one I felt was much too slow for my liking. And I found it really frustrating. Like, I prefer the Zodiac Age so much better. Anyways, that's all I'm going to show for this video. I will make another one after this, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 3. This will definitely be the last part, so take care.